Good evening, and welcome back to my Midnight Spook Show here on the Horror Metal channel. I'm a Hellhound, and I want to welcome you to another exciting episode of Loathsome Lore, in which I'll take a look at some recent purchases. Now, some of these things I've had for quite a while, but I never got around to making a video about it, so we have a lot of things to look at today, so let's go and get started. I'll try to move through these as quickly as possible. But before we begin, somebody needs to come play this with me. Trivial Pursuit Horror Movie Edition. Come on, come play this with me. It'll be a lot of fun. Come on, let's go. Let's play. I got this for like almost a year ago, and I haven't got to play it yet because I have nobody to play with. So, come on, people, let's do it. Let's get to it. All right, so let's start with DVDs. I got Frankenstein Conquers the World, also known as Frankenstein vs. Baragon. Very fun Japanese giant monster movie. And I love kaiju, Godzilla, and all that. And this is a really fun one. I like it a lot. It's very entertaining. It's really cool. And then we have, it was followed by kind of a semi-sequel, though, but a lot of the continuity, a lot of the connections to the original were deleted in the English dub. So I prefer to watch the original Japanese version. It's War of the Gargantulas, which comes in this bonus, this 2-disc set. It also comes with Rodan, which I have on VHS, but this is my first time owning Rodan on DVD. And as I said, it comes with the War of the Gargantulas, which is kind of a spiritual follow-up to Frankenstein Conquers the World. This time with two giant Frankenstein monsters. Yeah, it's kind of a complicated story, but I won't get into it because I've got way too many things I gotta show you. So, but yeah, I definitely recommend these two. Well, three actually. Yeah, very fun giant monster movies, really entertaining. Good stuff. Next we have Leprechaun Returns. Leprechaun Origins. That movie sucks. Which is pretty cool. They pulled a Halloween 2018 in which they directly follow the original Leprechaun film. They ignore all the sequels. Really, there wasn't really strong continuity in the series to begin with. Like, all the sequels kind of ignore each other, except for maybe the two Hood films. But this one follows the very first one. It takes place after, at the end of the first movie where he gets trapped in the well and stuff after eating the four-leaf clover. But unfortunately, Warwick Davis doesn't return. The new guy that plays the Leprechaun is really good. I like him a lot, too. He does a good job. He's no Warwick Davis, and that was the best part about those movies. Was Warwick Davis. He made them really fun. You could tell he's having fun with the role. It was really infectious. He made those movies a blast. They were really stupid movies. They're really ridiculous and cheesy. And this one takes itself a little more seriously. It's not really a straight up horror comedy. It tries to be a little scary. It's still kind of cheesy and has a lot of bad acting. But as I said, it's kind of more tries to be a straight up horror movie. Origins did the same thing, but it had nothing to do with the rest of the series. It didn't even look like the Leprechaun. It looked like a goblin. He didn't even talk. It wasn't related to the series at all. They just slapped the name on it to get people to watch it, I guess. But this is a much better follow-up, and it's a direct sequel to the original. But I really don't care what they did to the Ozzy character played by Mark Holton. That was kind of a spit in the face to the fans. So yeah, not a bad movie, but it would have been a lot better with Warwick Davis. I really wish he'd returned to the role, because he is the Leprechaun as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, the new guy's pretty good too. But yeah, I'll have to review this later on, so let's not spend any more time on that. Next we got Wonder Woman 1984 on Blu-ray. I'm a little mixed on this one. I probably need to rewatch it to have it fresh in my mind. Mostly I was excited that it took place in the 80s, but really the only scene that really felt 80s was the opening scene in the mall. And I was really excited that she was going to fight Cheetah, her arch nemesis, her main adversary, and my favorite Wonder Woman villain, actually. Or villainess, I guess I should say. But Cheetah wasn't in it enough, and I didn't really care for the way she was done. Like, we've seen that type of villain done so many times before. It was Selina Kyle from Batman Returns. It was Edward Nygma from Batman Forever. It was Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then, I don't know, we've seen that type of origin story for a villain so many times, and she wasn't in the movie enough. But there was still some pretty good things about it. I liked a lot of it. I was entertained, I wasn't bored, but it was kind of a mess. And there was a lot of things that didn't make sense. Wonder Woman has all these amazing powers, these things she can do that weren't in the first movie, and like they don't really give much of an explanation how she can do them. Like, oh, by the way, I can make things invisible, and oh, by the way, I can lasso lightning, which is really freaking cool, but there's not really an explanation. It doesn't make sense. But I need to watch it again and give it a proper review. But because for what I remember, it was kind of a letdown mostly, but it had some good moments. But okay, let's move on. Next, Freddy's Dead on VHS. I've never been a fan of this movie. They saved the best for last, right. This is the weakest in the series by far, not counting the awful 2010 remake, which I'd rather watch this than that piece of crap. But it was very cheap, and I figured, it was the only Freddy movie I didn't have on VHS, and I made my basement, my living room, look like a video store. I have all my VHSs out on the shelves like a video store, and I figured this would look good on my shelf. I always like this poster. It's cool artwork. The artwork's better than the movie itself. So yeah, not a good movie. It's kind of more of a parody, kind of a spoof of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But it's kind of enjoyable in a so bad it's good, guilty pleasure kind of way. It's horrible, but you can kind of laugh at how stupid it is. But yeah, I figured I'd own it. I'd go ahead and own it. It was really cheap, so why not, you know? I don't really collect VHS tapes as much as I used to, but I figured, what the hell? You know, I make my living room look like a video store, and it felt incomplete without that one, I guess, so just had to fill that empty void that Freddy's Dead, only Freddy's Dead could fill, I guess. Alright, anyway, let's move on. Next we have Scream Bloody Gore by Death on vinyl. I've been wanting this one for a while. It's one of my favorite death metal albums. I already have it on CD, of course, but it's really cool to have it on, you know, on a record. I already have Leprosy. Those are the only two death albums I have, this and Leprosy. And those are my two favorite death albums as well. So yeah, very happy to have this one. Great album. I already talked about this enough. I think I don't think I've given it an individual review, but I think I talked about it in my top 10 death metal albums. I at least mentioned it, and I think I talked about it in a couple of other videos as well. So I won't spend any more time on it. So let's go ahead and move on. All I'll say is it freaking slays. All right, so next we have the. Now, I wasn't going to buy these. I wasn't going to start collecting them. I told myself for a long time, I was like, I'm not going to start collecting those because I do have to collect them all. But I figured, but then I told myself, let me just get my favorites characters. And that's the Toonie Terrors action figures made by NECA. I have the more realistic looking, highly detailed NECA action figures, which I've showed in past Loathsome Lore videos before. But these are like kind of a cartoonish version. And so yeah, I have the slasher villains, of course, and horror characters. So I have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Pretty cool. And, of course, I have Michael Myers. This is the one from Halloween 2. It comes with the jack-o'-lantern from the poster as well, and the opening credits, too. So, yeah, pretty cool. Michael Myers. Then, of course, Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th series. And then Freddy Krueger. Oh, shoot. Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, of course. And, as well as Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. So yeah, I'm not probably going to collect anymore. I might get Chucky and Tiffany, and I might get Herbert West from Reanimator. But I really want to get a NECA, the actual figure of him, too. But, other than that, I probably won't get anymore. I'm certainly not going to collect them all. But I think they're pretty cool. So, I might just stop there. I'm not going to try to collect them all or anything. But anyway, I think they're pretty cool, and I know some of my fellow YouTubers of our little network of friends we have, my fellow horror YouTubers, I know they have quite a good collection of those as well. So, alright, so I've got a lot of comics lately. I've got at least 100 comics, so I'm not going to show all the ones I got lately. I just kind of picked ones that were my favorites of the ones I got. I've got so many comics, it's ridiculous, and it was a pain in the ass to dig all these out, but, and some of these I actually have had for a while, but I haven't showed them in a Loathsome Lore video yet, so, we're going to go ahead and show them here. So let's go ahead and get to it. This, of course, is a reprint of Amazing Fantasy 15, the very first appearance of Spider-Man. Yeah, it's a reprint, so not too exciting, but I figured, why not, you know. Then this is a reprint of Amazing Spider-Man issue 1. But the cool thing about this is it's signed by Stan Lee. Yeah, it's got his autograph right there. Stan Lee's signature. There's a certificate of authenticity. I showed this in a video before, but it wasn't a Loathsome Lore video, so we're going to go and show it again here, just for the hell of it. So yeah, pretty cool. I have another Stan Lee autograph. Back there behind me on the wall. I guess there's too much crap in the way, so you can't see it. But so yeah, 2 Stan Lee autographs, and this one's on an actual comic. The other was just a picture of him doing a Spider-Man thing. Then we have Amazing Spider-Man issue 18, which is features the Sandman, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. Amazing Spider-Man issue 24. This is a great read. This is always one of my favorite comics, and I never had the actual original comic before. I had a reprint of it, but this is the actual. All the rest of these are the actual print. None of the rest of these are. I'm going to show you are reprints. Amazing Spider-Man 44. I've had this for a while, but I never showed it in a video before. It's in really crappy condition. He fights the lizard. Yeah, it looks like crap, but it was really cheap. But I figured, why not? Might as well go and own it. There was Amazing Spider-Man 56, where he fights Dr. Octopus. Number 80, where he fights the Chameleon. 87, where he's supposedly unmasked, but looks like everybody's seeing that he's discovering his secret identity as Peter Parker, but it doesn't really play out quite like that. They kind of mislead you with the cover. Issue 92, where he fights Iceman. I've had this one for a while, but I never showed it in a video before, so I figured, I'd go ahead and show it here. Why not? Issue 122. I've had this one for a long time, too. I've had this one for years, but again, I never showed it in a video. This is actually where the Green Goblin dies, right after the previous issue was where he murdered Gwen Stacy, and this is one Spider-Man kind of gets his revenge, sort of. Great read. Then we have Amazing Spider-Man 131, where Dr. Octopus tries to marry Aunt May. Pretty interesting read. Amazing Spider-Man 344, which is the first appearance of Cletus Cassidy before he becomes Carnage. And Spider-Man fights the Rhino. Amazing Spider-Man 345, which features a brief appearance of Venom, and is the second appearance of Cletus Cassidy as an ordinary human. 359. Then this is 360, where is the first full appearance of Carnage. Cletus Cassidy as Carnage. And 361. I've had this for years, but I never showed it in the Loathsome lore video. This is the first time Spider-Man actually fights Carnage. This is the first true appearance of Carnage. So I'm very happy to have that in my collection, but I've had that for a long time. Then I went ahead and got Amazing Spider-Man 800, which is one of the more recent ones. I don't read modern comics very much, but I figured this would be cool to have. It pays homage to the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 39, which had the Green Goblin kidnapping. This is the same. This is the Red Goblin. It's Norman Osborn merged with the Carnage symbiote, which is pretty cool. Green Goblin and Carnage kind of combined. So I figured I'd go ahead and have it. I haven't read it yet, and I don't even know if I will, but I figured it'd be cool to own it. Then I have the Spectacular Spider-Man issue 1 and 2 magazines, which are pretty cool. I've been wanting these for a while, and I got these relatively recently. These are pretty cool. Yeah, magazines. They only made 2 of these, and that was it. It'd be cool if they made more. This one's in black and white, and then this one's in color. So, yeah, I'm really happy to have these. First 2 Spectacular Spider-Man magazines, issue 1 and 2. Then the first issue, I've had this for years as well, but I figured I'd show it here. The first issue of Spectacular Spider-Man, the comic book, not the magazine. Yeah, issue 1. We have Spectacular Spider-Man issue 21. Spectacular Spider-Man issue 34. Issue 158. This probably isn't a very interesting video at this point, just kind of showing different comic titles, but if you're a comic collector and like looking at comics, I think maybe you'll find it somewhat enjoyable, I guess. Maybe some of the first things I showed off I should have saved for last, but yeah, Spider-Man, issue 1 of Spider-Man Unlimited. I actually have the full Maximum Carnage run, which is spread across 5 different titles: Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Unlimited, Web of, and then one other, I forget. I didn't feel like digging well out because they're all out of order and stuff. So, but trust me, I do have the full Maximum Carnage run. I have all 14 issues. This is the first one. This is the first Maximum Carnage comic, as well as the first issue of Spider-Man Unlimited. Yeah, I have all Maximum Carnage. It's one of my favorite story arcs from the Spider-Man comics. Really cool. A bunch of heroes team up, a bunch of villains led by Carnage, of course. Sensational Spider-Man issue 1, which I got relatively recently. Spider-Man vs. Wolverine. I've actually had this for a while, but I figured I'd show this in a video. This is actually the death of Ned Leeds. It's a really good comic. It's a really good read. I like it. We have Spider-Man and Batman crossover. A DC Marvel crossover. I highly recommend these. These are a blast. In this one, Batman and Spider-Man team up, and they're in the same world. It's not like the universes merge. They just happen to exist in the same reality, which is rare for a DC Marvel crossover. Usually like a rift in the time-space continuum opens up, and they meet each other. But this, Gotham City and New York City exist in the same world, and Batman and Spider-Man are well-known heroes. They team up to fight the Joker and Carnage, which is an awesome duo, an awesome team up. And in this one, they team up to fight Kingpin and Ra's al Ghul, which is really cool. So yeah, highly recommend these. They're badass. Here we have Strange Tales, issue 120, where the Human Torch from Fantastic Four meets Iceman from X-Men, of course. We have Incredible Hulk 224, which he fights the Leader, his arch nemesis, and it bridged the gap. I had a lot of issues before and after this one, so this one bridged the gap. I had to get it to complete my collection. Fantastic Four issue 348, which features the Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider, 4 of my favorite Marvel heroes, and then in addition to the Fantastic Four team as well, which I thought was cool. Made for a good read. Next we have X-Men, issue 29. The original X-Men, of course, the original 5 members. Issue 30. Issue 31. Issue 43. Issue 77. Yeah, all featuring the original 5 members. 89. 90, where Professor X dies. 90. And 91, which is actually a reprint of issue 43. There for a while, they just started reprinting past issues. They kind of discontinued the series before they breathed new life into it, and the new team featuring Wolverine and all them. That's a long story. That's a story for another time. We got issue 1 of the Champions, which I think is pretty cool. It's Hercules, Ghost Rider, Iceman, and Black Widow and Angel all teamed up. Some of my favorite heroes, making a new team. It could have been a lot better, though. But Contest of Champions issue 1. I've had this for a while, but I figured I'd show off in a video. Pretty much all the Marvel heroes teaming up for one of the first big crossover events that they had, which is a pretty good read. Then we have another DC Marvel crossover, DC versus Marvel issue 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, pretty cool seeing, all the DC heroes and all the Marvel heroes going at it, doing a cool crossover. Pretty fun read. Then we have another one. This is probably even better. Justice League of America meets the Avengers, issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, this is probably even better. Avengers and Justice League of America. Another awesome Marvel and DC crossover. And then we have Supervillain Team Up, issues 11, with Dr. Doom and Red Skull. 12, also featuring Dr. Doom and Red Skull. And 14, with Dr. Doom and Magneto, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, this when I first found out about this series, I thought it was going to be awesome. I was like, man, if supervillains team up, the possibilities are endless. Maybe we'll see, Green Goblin team up with a Magneto, or the Mandarin team up with the Leader, or Doctor Doom teaming up with Kingpin or something. But no, it was mostly just like Red Skull and like Submariner and like a few others, and a lot of big missed opportunity there. And they didn't make very many issues either. I was like, man, I could have seen all these different supervillains teaming up and battling the heroes, and it kind of tells it from the antagonist's point of view. That would have been awesome, but it's kind of a missed opportunity because they could have done a lot more with it. But yeah, I got quite a bit of comics, but that's not even half of them. I've got so many comics lately, it's breathtaking. It's just ridiculous. I got way more. Maybe I'll show them off in another video, but I didn't want to make this video be like an hour long. So, but yeah, just some of the other cool stuff I got. I already showed, but yeah, alright guys, well thank you for watching my video. This has been Loathsome Lore. Let me know if you got any cool things in the comments below. Or feel free to make a video of any awesome hauls that you might have had recently. Any cool collector's items or anything that you've obtained in the past few months or whatever. Let me know, because I'll be excited to talk about it with you. Alright guys, I'm Hellhound. This has been Loathsome Lore. Thank you for watching my Midnight Spook Show here on the Horror Metal Channel. Until next time, later.